Greetings, Dragon Ball fans, and welcome to Part 6 of What If Goku Kept His Tail, where we have a look at how events would have gone if Goku had kept the thing back when training with Kami before the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament. In the last part, Earth's defenders came up against androids 17 and 18, while Gero had remained blissfully unaware of the whole Super Saiyan thing. Courtesy of the increasingly B fighters versus Cold Force, the pair have still been calibrated with the post-Saiyan saga values in mind. This includes that strange boost from the Ikari form. When the Z-Fighters showed up to engage the pair, they were initially fixated on their primary target, Son Goku. Thanks to Dende sticking around, Goku is still up and about, the heart virus long since dealt with. Vegeta, however, was itching to show off a new power. With a base strength well in excess of the other two present, his newly minted golden hair state came out well above the single-minded androids. As Vegeta lays into them, two things become apparent. Firstly, they've bitten off more than they can chew. Individually, their attacks are easily dodged or blocked, and their condescending banter has long since ceased. While they do manage to hold him in place, or even push him back a bit while combining attacks, he's no slouch when it comes to fighting, of course, so separates them out with little effort. Secondly, Vegeta isn't even fighting them, not really. His base Super Saiyan state is approaching that muscle-bound grade 2, and he loves it. He's still not sure what to think of Raditz, but Kakarot absolutely needs to be shown his place, and so Vegeta is showing off. Ever since he came to this miserable rock, he's been on the back foot, playing catch-up to them, despite how hard he pushes himself. But no longer. Now he is... Wait, where'd those two kids go? Vegeta's showboating was just as distracting as he had hoped. They were so fixated on him that, combined with the inability to sense them, they had all lost track of the strange pair. They scatter and search, but to no avail. They're gone, vanished like a couple of ghosts. Ah, they'd seen his power and run. This is perfect. Now, Kakarot. How about you and the prince have a go? Unfortunately, or fortunately, Goku is in no condition to meet Vegeta's demand at this particular moment. He can barely stand, let alone fight. A week, Kakarot, that's all I'll give you. Go get your little Senzu, and then get your affairs in order, before you face me. After Vegeta flies off, they gather to discuss the situation. Those kids are still out there, and who knows how powerful they'll get if they do a little training. They're already ridiculously strong, but completely undetectable. And what was with that red ribbon insignia? Red ribbon? Goku remembers those guys. Oh man, good times. While recapping the red ribbon story to Raditz over dinner, Goku mentions Ader, a sort of mechanical man. Goku never could sense that guy either. He was ridiculously strong too, but, really nice. Androids are nice. Raditz shares that knowing glance with Piccolo and leans forward. This Ader guy, where is he? Could he be the source of those teenagers? What? No way. Like I said, he's a big ol' softy. A day later, Goku, Raditz, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, and Bulma arrive at Jingle Village in their best winter gear and start poking around looking for the big guy. In the town square, they happen across a tall, important-looking woman. The current village chiefess greets the visitors, and they discuss what they're after. Ader, it turns out, isn't here right now. He's out collecting supplies for the village. He's so good, isn't he? Always wanting to help. He treks hundreds of miles at a time for us. What a sweetie pie. And for sure, no way he would make more of himself. No way he even could make more of himself. Oh, what about Dr. Flap? Wait, how do you know about Dr. Flap as well? The woman stares at Goku for a moment, connecting the dots, and can't repress a smile. Yep, you're Goku all right, aren't you? They get to hear in more detail about Muscle Tower, this time from the 10-year-old Suno's point of view. And of course about Goku, that small but mighty hero who rode in on a cloud. And this is his son, Gohan, huh? Well, he's adorable, just like his dad. As for Dr. Flap, he's around here somewhere. He actually lives with Ater now. They visit the doctor, and no, he hasn't made any new androids, cyborgs, artificial, mechanical, or re-engineered people of any kind. After what happened with Ader and Dr. Gero, no, he simply couldn't. He could never enslave another being like that. Who's Dr. Gero? Yeah, that red ribbon nut job. He was obsessed with the things. He'd even stolen all of Dr. Flap's research notes, schematics, even his doodles. Decades of work gone, not that he really missed them. When they ask where they can find Dr. Gero, Bulma laughs. She knows where his lab is. It's just this side of North City, isn't it? Now armed with the exact coordinates courtesy of Dr. Flap and Bulma, or should that be Dr. Bulma? I mean, does she have a PhD? If the trope holds true, probably several. Maybe even one on flying alien spaceships. Oh, sorry, wrong timeline. But come on, how typical not to acknowledge that Bulma really should be Dr. Bulma. And it sounds funny saying it now, but what if that's what she'd always been? Like Dr. Briefs. That practically rolls off the tongue. Anyway, now armed with the location of Dro's lab, they ask Dr. Flap to say hi to Ater when he gets back and say goodbye to Suno and her family before they head off west in the frigid air. They find the lab easily enough, but there's not much to see. On the workbench there are wires scattered haphazardly, numerous half-assembled parts, like a hand with a weird red crystal in the palm. Behind the workbench they find what's left of Dro himself, a shriveled corpse with a rather thick cable wrapped tightly around its neck. Dr. Bulma, rifles through the notes, searching for information, and finds the schematics for the two that they're after. They're not androids at all, but completely rebuilt and augmented people. At mention of a remote, they are disappointed to find its remains crushed on the floor. Maybe with time she can build a new one. Back at Capsule Corp, not only does Bulma make new remotes, but they also have radar screens on them. The range isn't brilliant, since their energy output is usually very low, but if they're in range of the transmitter, or working hard in some way, they should at least show up. With 4 days remaining in the week, they split up and spend the first 2 of those days searching for the machines with little luck. The major cities are all clear, no trace in North City, East, South, or West. Finally, seeing a blip over the jungles heading towards Korn's tower, Raditz radios in and heads down to investigate. There, among the trees, he finds a small hut surrounded by numerous vehicles in various states of disrepair and a fairly large pile of rather wimpy-looking blasters. He picks one up to inspect it and accidentally snaps the thing in half. Discarding it, he then turns towards the ramshackle hut, and those 2 re-engineered teens are standing there, staring back at him from the doorway. Hi. When the fight is over, Raditz's vision comes swimming back, and he finds himself looking up at the blue sky from the small crater he'd just made through the house, then not just 1, but 2 thick concrete floors. He's in a bunker of some kind. Cans and other supplies line the shelves, and what he assumes are weapon racks lay empty on the walls. As he moves to dig himself out of the rubble, a face appears in the gloom. A woman looks down at him, eyes wide in amazement. Her noticeably violet hair catches the light, despite the concrete dust that now covers everything, courtesy of his recent impact. He was dead for sure, after punching through over a meter of solid reinforced concrete. But here he is, not only alive, but awake, and moving even. There's only one other person she knows of that could have survived that. Raditz, a bit angrily, says, "Well, help me up, woman." But instead she turns around slightly and shows him that her hands are bound behind her back with thick strips of metal, the same color as those odd wheeled vehicles that were outside. After he finishes crawling out of the rubble, wincing, he staggers over to her and reaches behind her. When he casually pulls the metal bands apart, she can only stare at her now free hands. He's like them? More of Giroux's monstrous miscreations? What? No, I'm actually hunting them. Well, it's a fine job you've been doing so far, she smirks back, visibly eyeing up what's left of the dust and blood-soaked rags he's wearing. More wincing ensues as they extricate themselves from the now ruined basement, up into the equally ruined hut, and the woman disappears into the back. Oh, thank God, the plumbing's still working. But no hot water, though. She'd been locked in that damn basement for what felt like days, so she was ripe, and she knew it. So she showers, despite the cold. She comes back out with a medkit and offers to patch up the bloody man with what she can. The medkit has an insignia on it, as does the large trench coat she then tosses at Raditz to cover up. 2 red triangles. Oh, that. Oh, she'd worked with the red ribbon on and off over the years. The money was good, until that little monster had come through and wrecked their base. Not unlike what a more recent arrival had done to her current base of operations. When Raditz starts filling in details from his second-hand knowledge of events, she eyes him suspiciously. Oh, that. My puny little brother, Goku, may have had a hand in things. Hearing the name aloud, and now noticing Raditz's tail, Violet sits down. He had a brother? That was stronger than he was? Well, at least he's not an enemy, per se. They talk more as she kind of feels him out. She only does odd jobs now and then, if the price is right, and not many can afford her these days. Raditz can relate to the mercenary life, being a Saiyan working under Lord Frieza for so long. Her rather pleasant conversation with the big brother of Goku is interrupted by a massive green man descending through that equally massive new air vent in the ceiling. Piccolo fills Raditz and thus Violet in on things. They're tracking them east. Looks like they're looking for other Red Ribbon allies. Is this woman a Red Ribbon ally? No, not since all that money she'd looted from the Ribbon's vaults, which had kept her relatively comfortable for years now, and thus pushed her prices up. Bidding farewell to the lady, they make to leave, but she stops them. Are they going after those menaces who barged in, tied her up with an irreplaceable bit of her last working vehicle? She wants to come with them. If they're Red Ribbon, maybe she can pretend? She didn't get the chance to speak last time. They just walked in the door and bam. Being carried by Raditz is certainly a new experience for her. Flying north into the cold mountains was a bit less pleasant. They arrive back at Jingle Village and meet the collection of Z-Fighters. Seeing Goku, Violet stiffens, but he's oblivious, until he notices Raditz's new threads, red emblem and all. How about that? She survived. Well, she always was a tough one. They then learn that these two androids have taken Dr. Flap hostage. Should they call Vegeta? Dr. Bulma, shakes her head. No, he's busy sweating it out in the gravity chamber, with the door locked and the intercom disabled. A flash, followed shortly by the thundering boom, catches their attention, and they go to investigate. Ater stands in the ruins of the house, holding the teenage boy up by his shirt, as the girl kicks and punches him over and over. Why you hurt, Doctor? The monstrous man asks, ignoring 18's hits. Raditz, now freshly senzu'd, dives in with Goku, knocking the surprised 18 away, as Krillin digs around in his pocket. Where was it? Damn it, what did he do with it? Piccolo calmly produces his own remote and jabs the button as 18 comes back in to hit Goku, her brother all but forgotten in the face of her primary function. When 17 and 18 wake up, they are surrounded by the Z-Fighters, the massive but passive Ater, and a very frail old man they demanded help from. They finally get around to seeing Goku and stare at him, blinking. That's weird. Where's the overwhelming desire to attack him? Dr. Flap then explains that he and Bulma have made some changes. No new instructions. The opposite, in fact. He's fixed 17's broken arm, courtesy of Vegeta, and they are now free to choose their own path. 17 and 18 look at each other, then 18 asks, so then, what's the point? What are we supposed to do now? After years of aimless hooliganism, their life had suddenly had such clarity and purpose. It was so clear. Find and kill anything Son Goku related. Oh, the irony that Dr. Gero hadn't accounted for. Killing anything Son Goku related, huh? So that's everyone? The good doctor, maybe even more so, since he'd built them specifically to deal with Son Goku. Everyone was, to their programming, related to Son Goku. If it looked vaguely human, it was going to die eventually. What are we supposed to do now? Oh, whatever you want that doesn't involve killing Son Goku, or anything vaguely Son Goku related. Suno says that they are welcome to stay here if they'd like. Ater would probably love the company, or at least a friend of his own kind. 17 considers this, but 18 straight up refuses. The cold weather clothing everyone's wearing is just so meh. Krillin, who can't take his eyes off the girl, says that maybe she needs some time to figure things out. He's free to, show you around, if you wanna. As the week draws to a close, Vegeta, who has been ignoring the scavenger hunt, makes sure to remind everyone of the upcoming rematch between him and Kakarot. Oh no, Goku had completely forgotten about that. With barely a day left, what can he possibly do for training? Dinner at the Son House that evening is a speedy affair. Goku practically inhales the food, desperate to get outside for some training. Goku and Raditz venture out to have their evening sparring match when they are met by Piccolo. He'd mentioned the impending match to Kami, and Dende had a suggestion. He's been tinkering with the time chamber and has fixed a few of the issues Kami never figured out. He'd really like some feedback. The what? The Room of Spirit and Time? You'd gone in there once when you were a teenager, and, you shouldn't have gone in there alone. It's that place where a year inside is only a day outside, remember? Goku likes the sound of this, and so, with Raditz and Piccolo in tow, he heads off for a day's worth of training. Wait, no Gohan? Well, why would he? This isn't an end-of-the-world thing, it's just Vegeta wanting to settle a silly old grudge. And besides, Goku's been much more present in Gohan's life. He never died, not even the once. He'll only be gone a day or so anyway, so it's no big deal, barely a blip on even Chi-Chi's radar. And here we will end Part 6. Given the suggestions in the last part, I have slightly retconned Raditz already having hooked up with someone, and made a bit of a story about it, instead of doing a Part 4.5 or something. And I'm pretty happy with how this fit into the current state of things, even if it does mean that I had to end up bringing this particular grudge match forward from the 25th World Martial Arts that I had previously scheduled it for. What do you think Goku's going to manage to pull out his butt with Raditz and Piccolo there to help? Will 18 take Krillin up on his offer to tour the cities of the Dragon World? Will 17 stay with Aether in Jingle Village? Find out next time on Dragon Ball, What If Goku Kept His Tail?